You're listening to the Fitzy and Whipper podcast.
Well, it's not very often you get to talk to one of the icons of the music industry here in Australia, do you?
Nobody bigger.
Oh, have we got him up online? Jimmy Barnes, you there, buddy?
Hello, how are you?
Hey!
How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good, buddy. We're really good.
Yeah, Jimmy Barnes.
Excellent.
He's got the new Blue Christmas album out. Is this your first Christmas album, Jimmy, or have you made a few before?
No, well, it's officially the first Christmas album, but I did sing on the Tin Lids one many years ago.
I was going to say, the Tin Lids was the very first of all the Christmas albums that you celebrate.
Well,
like, that's your childhood.
They were trendsetters. They were trendsetters. You know?
Loved that.
I've got a chart, and I've got a chart sitting in the other room here with the Tin Lids number 1 on the chart. Number 2 was Bad by Michael Jackson. Number 3 was a U2 album, and I think I was number 4.
So that was probably 1988.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit later. It was 90 or something like that, somewhere around there.
That's hilarious.
But you're close. 30-odd years ago.
But, Jimmy, that's the power of a Christmas album, though.
Well, they're great songs.
They're great songs. You've got an artist that you love, and you've got a time of year where you can just play it over and over again.
And, I've thought about doing a Christmas record for a long time. It's sort of, it's once again, it goes back to that stuff where I used to sing these songs, at Christmas when I was a young kid. So, I've always loved these melodies and stuff like that. But you've got to find the right time when you can do these things. And I've found that after the whole lockdown period where Jane and I were doing all those songs acoustic on social media every night, I was singing so many different types of songs that I discovered all these other tones and registers and ways to sing in my voice that I thought this was a good time to use them, Well,
this is the one that we need to focus on because Blue Christmas is a cover of Elvis, isn't it? Is this an Elvis song?
Yeah.
Let's have a listen to Jimmy. Listen to Jimmy here.
Christmas without you.
Listen how low that is, Jim.
I mean, if he was still alive, he'd be nervous, I reckon, Elvis.
Yeah.
He is. Isn't he working in McDonald's somewhere? The reason I put that one on there, there was a few reasons. First one was, Elvis, being the king of rock and roll and influenced everybody, but to have him sing such a great carol and do it with such style and such swing, it was a really great song to do. Secondly, I thought, really in Australia, I grew up, as a young fella, I was in Scotland and we've lived in France and Europe for a while. We've seen white Christmases, but we don't really see them very often in Australia. More often than not, we're surrounded by blue sky and blue sea. And so I thought Blue Christmas was quite fitting as a title for the record.
Jimmy, is it harder to go lower for you or is it harder to go higher for you? Because you seem to do the higher quite easy. We think you are, or is that difficult?
No, singing high for me is more my natural register.
Yes.
It's pretty easy for me. I can peel the paint off walls. I quite often do, by the way. I never liked to sing low in the old days because it wasn't as strong for me, and so working with a live rock and roll band, especially a struggling rock and roll band with bad PA systems, you couldn't hear me.
No.
So I'd always I'd scream to get above the band. But these days, I've sort of, like I said, over that COVID and whatnot, I've sort of developed that lower register quite a lot more. So I'm quite comfortable in it, though.
Yeah, but how exciting, Jimmy. Like, you think, for all the music you've done and all the singing you've done, all the writing, to think that you've got to this stage of your life and you're still discovering what your voice has to offer.
Well, for me that's a really good thing because I honestly think that I'm still finding, still learning, still growing, and I honestly believe my best work's still to come, which is a good thing.
Love that
at this point in your life.
Gives everyone else hope as well.
Do you know what I watched the other day? There's a great documentary out called Australian Made, and it was a concert series from 1986. Is that correct, Jimmy? And it was it was 86, 87. That's right. So you're out at Chisel. That's when working class man. You're at your biggest then. And it was a series with In Excess. The Saints were there. You had the Triffids were there. Divinals.
Amazing.
And you know what, Jimmy? It just looked like a hoot. You're out the back having shots with your whole band, going just about to go out on the stage.
That's slamming cans. I know we were lunatics, but you know what that tour was? It was literally. I remember we were all sitting, and it was a period in Australian sort of culture where the Australian audiences were sort of saying, everything that comes from overseas is better than what we had here.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of us sat around and said, no, it's not. We think we've got as good a bands as anywhere. So In Excess and myself and a whole bunch of bands got together to showcase Australian music to Australia.
Wow.
And we took it around, and it was a blistering tour. In Excess were literally on the precipice, about to burst wide open worldwide. And they were really at the top of their game. We were all at the top of our games. It was a great tour, and we celebrated Australian music. That's what we were doing.
And you just brought out Good Times. Going to have a good time.
Love it.
That was when you performed that up there with In Excess, Jimmy. That was unbelievable. Like the hairs on the back of my neck stood up with that.
And what a great song, eh? And once again, a great Australian band, the Easy Beats, Yeah.
Jimmy, what number album is this for you, including Cold Chisel, solo albums? What are we talking here? Do you even know?
It's about 20-something, 22 solo records, and I don't know, we did about 12. Well, there was only about 6 Chisel records, but there was about 12 with all those best ofs and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know, I'm up somewhere 35, 40 records.
Wow.
But who's counting? But you know what? Which is pretty good considering I'm only 21.
Also, your wife. Like, I mean, the way that you talk about Jane, I look up to you guys so much. She saved your life, really, didn't she, Jimmy?
She's a great guy. I saved her too. She was wild. No, but she's a wonderful girl, and to be and people go, how do you stay married for so long? It's like any relationship, it's difficult. It takes work. But it helps that you've got the best girl in the world.
All right, well, Jimmy, you've got a couple of dates left to go this year, and then you're going to continue to tour at the start of next year. So if you want to go get tickets, go to jimmybarnes.com/tour dates. You can find it there.
I've got another record up my sleeve, which I'm going to drop early next year, which I'll let you know about. It's a top secret one, but it's a band we've been thinking and talking about putting together for 35 years.
Wow. You can go celebrate the festive season with Jimmy Barnes. It's the new album, Blue Christmas. It's out now. Jimmy, love you, mate. Have a lovely Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And say good day to the fam.
Merry Christmas to you all, guys. Bye.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Whipper podcast.